What is up, guys? And today we are going to be talking about human behaviour. Now, just a little disclaimer: I was smoking last night. I know I said I would stop, so my voice might be a bit weaker than usual. So, yeah, I have slightly weaker lung capacity than now. But enough with me. We're going to talk about human behaviour. Okay, so dictates human behaviour? Human behaviour what always works. Sorry about that. Human behaviour always works in a sort of economic cycle. Without understanding economics, you cannot understand human societies. Human societies were always based on resources. As hunters and gatherers we once were. We fought for food, which back then was money, land, which was country, and women, which was oil. But as tribes formed into civilizations, and as we started to get smarter, we started to collectivize into city-states. It was from here where the good and the bads of human behaviour come into play to a modern perspective. It was here the class and the caste system started to play out. However, the top of the class created the cultural enrichment, while the labour created the stability, giving the civilization its heritage. So good and bad things. We will now focus more in detail. Now, the country can start off as a kingdom, then to a democracy, then evolve into a republic, or turn into a socialist or conservative utopia. But any civilization, there will be political clashes as long as there are class struggles of liberal thinkers and conservative thinkers. But even under dictatorships, new ideologies still occur. It just means those people get put in jail for it. But it just shows we're not just limited to being right or left. But of ideas, many, even under extreme circumstances, that just shows the intellect of human thought. Are we born as liberal or conservative is a bit like what came first, the chicken or the egg. Now, even if we were to eliminate the race class struggle, shit would still happen. There will always be people at the top and there will always be people at the bottom. That's just the natural pecking order of things, unfortunately. Now, when colonizers show up at the door, the passionate die, usually males, because men have a system if they're oppressed by other men, it means they won't be able to reproduce, causing their genes to go extinct. We see it in the animal kingdom with a pride of gorillas. It's usually one male who mates up all the females, while any other male who tries to reproduce in the pack is usually kicked out by the alpha. This probably explains why men are more resistant to being colonized and usually fight in all the wars, while women are more survivalist due to their weak strength. They know the odds are stacked up against them, and they usually comply. And that's why the women usually breed with the alpha male, because he must contain the strongest genes. So if she has a baby gorilla, he will have the strength of his father, and thus will also keep her genes in survival. But why do women like bad boys though, like punks, bikers, junkies, people who would be lower in the political spectrum? Well, in animal, female gorillas often tease the betas, see if they take the bait, to test if they can stand up to themselves and stand up to the system and change the power structure of the pack. So in a way, women are a bit revolutionary in that aspect. This would and it will cause a fight with the alpha, in which the alpha may actually lose and be getting rid of. However, we're getting too primitive here. Let's talk about humans in a way let's talk about humans in a way. We have all become quiet survivalists. Sorry, just lost my place there. But yeah, as humans, we have all become quiet survivalists who just comply and are now just sheep. Because the more luxury you give people, the more lazy they become, and the less they care about their rights. People now vote in ways that best favour them economically rather than socially. So although being a beta gorilla may be crap, not getting a fine shag, you still don't rebel because you need the comfort and safety and survival of the pack. It's like how in Soviet times people didn't care about the misery of the invasion of the Baltic states because it's not their problem, and the government started giving them cheap houses. which is a shame that we pick what benefits us rather than what benefits humanity. For example, jail. Adapting to your environment. Look at prison. Let me change the visual here. Look at prison, adapting to your environment, make use of what you got, and you even have oldies who have been in there for years who actually like it in there, and you even have some people in jail who commit even more crimes so they can be put back in it. So it just shows you could take away anyone's freedom, literally, and people will still be happy in their little cosy cells. Or in a right-wing tax break, people in the suburbs didn't care about the people in the projects because everything was cosy and comfortable for them. So we are all selfish in that regard. And although I write this in the safety of my own house and my own computer, I still must stand by the oppressed. Being an ill man, being bullied in school, and being a minority, I must sympathise my voice for concerns. Even though I have the odds stacked up against me, survivalism is not what I'm after, but a better world. But it is the banks, the insurance companies, big pharmacy, the industrial militarized complex, globalization, trade deals, entertainment and foreign franchises that dictate our behaviour. All the corporations are in bed with each other. Coca-Cola is always served in every McDonald's, meaning they're tied together. The fashion industry decide what is cool and what is not. Thus, although at first artistic expression is now a form of caste oppression. The music industry, although was at its time poetry, is now a means to create simple patterns and within distracting us into escapism to feel good with cheesy pop messages, or the other extreme, to teach us that it's cool and trendy to be a punk who does drugs and partake in drive-by shootings. The music industry either wants to destroy culture or to distract us from it. The celebrities decide the fashion, music, movie, and in their reality shows, movies are propaganda. Although once a tool for sci-fi and imagination, now being politicised to push agendas from conservative American Sniper to the more liberal edition to the new Ghostbusters. And people are stupid. They can't tell there's a huge difference between the TV world and the real world. They'll act like the TV world is the real world. They'll watch what's in TV and think it's cool and trendy and try and reenact it. Since most people spend most of their time indoors than out here in the West, the banks, although a means to protect money, is now circulated flow of the biggest